Good morning, y'all. So it's Tuesday morning. So I was sitting at my computer yesterday and I was going to sign up for Angie's List. I mean, any of you guys ever use Angie's List? I don't know. But so, and I have never advertised hardcore before. Never. I mean, it's just never really been something I've always been able to stay pretty busy without doing any advertising. So I go on there and I sign up with Angie's List, and on Sunday, and so they're calling me all day yesterday. I mean, they're calling me like, I probably got, well, I was on the phone one time when they called, and the dude called 4 times back to back. And they laid this agenda out, and it sounds really good, right? They're telling me, I talked to one guy, and he's telling me that he's got a lot of work in this area, because you have to when you sign up, you have to show on a map your counties and your areas that you're working in, right? And so I did all that, and so when they started calling me, I finally, was able to get to answer the phone. And so I ended up talking to a gentleman, real good salesman, sounded like he, knows what he's talking about and everything. And keep in mind, he's talking to somebody that's never marketed hardcore. So he's telling me, and I live in my area, and I kind of know a lot of people in my area. I don't know everybody, but I know a lot. And so he's telling me, well, how much work can you take? It seemed like that's one of their lines that they use. Are you ready to work tomorrow? And I'm like, we're talking about skid steer work, grading, brush cutting, a little tree trimming, with the man lift, and blah, blah, blah. And so he's telling me, and he's really getting me hyped up in a weird kind of way, because he's telling me I got, probably 40 or 50 leads in your area that need this kind of work done like right now. And I'm like, really? Because I live in this area. And I'm like, really? Wow, that sounds really good, He said, so how many customers could you take on? Of course, when you start asking how many customers you can take on, well, you gotta know a little bit about, well, I don't know how many customers I can take on. Is it a 3-day, $10,000 project? Is it a 4-hour grading job? Is it, down the street from my house, or is it all the way on the other side of the county? When they start asking broad questions like that, it kind of tells me, well, they're not really in tune with somebody like me that's got a lot of experience. And not that I'm special or unique or needy. Apparently I'm a little bit needy, right? Because I'm calling them. So it seems like, and that it's a good plan, right? It's a good thing. It's all good. And so I'm just soaking it in while I'm talking to him on the phone. And keep in mind, I talked to him for about 35, 40 minutes. And he's asking me a lot of questions about what kind of work I do. And he's being very thorough. And I tell him I do, lawn maintenance. And then I do bobcat work and, everything that I do. So, he's saying, I got 30 to 50 leads in your area right now. How many can you take on? And I'm like, I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. And I would have to see. And so then they start going into the numbers on what each job could potentially bring you. Well, i.e. because I have my own bobcat, so the numbers go way up, right? Well, I already knew that, I mean, if I can get to work for the bobcat, I can make money on the bobcat. If I have to give a little bit of it away for the Connect, then, that's the price of doing business. And that's, Well, that's business. No problem with that, right? I have no problem with that. So we keep talking, and he's telling me, well, I really need somebody that can take all 40 of these leads, and the leads are just that. They're not guaranteed work. You have to go, and of course, you have to go and look at the jobs. You have to bid the jobs. You have to go and make sure the job you can do, and they're ready to pull the trigger, and the number's friendly enough for them. And Angie's List ain't got nothing to do with how much you charge or anything. That's between you and the potential customer, right? And they don't get a percentage of that. So once I found all that out, and I'm thinking to myself, because I've been in business a long time, and I know everybody's out to make a dollar. So I'm just waiting on the hook, right? That's what I'm waiting on him to tell me what the hook is, And because I'm not seeing anywhere during this whole sales pitch how they're making money. So then here's the hook. So the hook is, he told me for $1,000 a month that he would send me 30 to 50 leads. Well, and he went on to say, and I'm thinking, okay, if you get $30,000 in work, but out of 40 leads, you're probably not going to get. It's according to what they consider leads. See, what I consider a lead or a possible job, they might not even be, they don't know, or if they're dealing with tire kickers or whatever. Because a lot of people will go on Angie's List and create a lead, and then you go out there to the lead, and there's the jobs that they're not even ready to do the work. They're not even, they were just putting feelers out. Of course, Angie's List is not going to tell you these things because, well, they're selling you the leads. And I was just curious, since I'm not a marketing genius or nothing, and I'm not really, I've never really spent big money on marketing. What you guys think about that, right? I'm curious, and y'all please leave me a comment because this is relevant in today's day and time. This is something that a lot of people would deal with or have dealt with. Is it me just not being new and in the game, and is it me having a slant eye at I don't know about that. So the salesman went on to talk about out of, and then got on a personal level. So he's like, Ray, out of 40 leads, I know that based on just our conversation, that you could at least get 15 or 20 of these jobs, and figure each job's going to pay you a minimum of $1,000, maybe more. But you still got to do the work, right? And you still got to get the job. You're the one that's got to get paid. You're the one that's got to make sure that they pay you. Angie's List ain't got nothing to do with that. So I'm all hyped up last night, talking to the guy, yesterday evening. And I'm like, man, that sounds pretty good, dude, and he's convincing. And, you can't get too caught up in the shiny ball stuff, though. So, their deal was this. They wanted $1,000, and he wanted me to pay him last night. He wanted me to put a credit card on file, right? And they're gonna run a background check, and then once your money, whatever money you're giving them, once your money clears for them, then they'll send you all these leads. And his was going to be between 30 and 50 is what he said. So we just said 40. What do y'all think about that? And there's no guarantee, and this is the skeptical side of me, because there's, you know, that's just, you know, there's no guarantee that you're going to get any of that work. And there's no guarantee that the leads are ready to pull the trigger either. They're not giving you the leads and then charging you after you get the work. That's not what they're doing. And I guess they're staying in business some kind of way. I guess people are actually doing this. You know, I personally, coming from a non-marketing business, I've never marketed hardcore other than throw an ad online here and there, to, you know, this kind of thing. And I got swept up in the notion that 40 potential jobs I could land, you know, I know that I could probably, you know, land, you know, 10 or 20 of them, you know, 10 or 15 of them, right? I'm a realist, you know. But I said all that to get you guys' take on it. What do you guys think about that? Have any of you guys had experience with that? And if so, what was your experience? Because I'm green when it comes to marketing. I mean, and that's my bad. You know, I just never have marketed. And I know people spend thousands and thousands and thousands, and big company spends millions on marketing every year. Is $1,000 too much or too little upfront money to pay to somebody to give you, or to, you know, Angie's List? We'll just say Angie's List for now. So that's who I'm talking about. Is $1,000 too much or too little to pay? Is it worth it, or is it not? Is it something that can grow your business, or you can make money on? Or is it just a bunch of wasted time going and spending $1,000 that you know will never get that? Once you do that, you're not gonna get that money back. And then you got to spend the energy, fuel, and time and resources to go look at these jobs. Now, if you happen up on one that is a $10,000 job, and you can do the work and you can make that money in 3 days or whatever, well, then that money, that $1,000 that you gave them is money well spent. And you still got, you know, 39 other leads to go look at. But I don't think I'm gonna do it, y'all. And I don't want nobody to, you know, not do it because I didn't do it, but I just don't think I'm gonna do it because there's no guarantees. What do you guys think? Because another thing too is, meanwhile you're chasing down these leads, you're spending money. It's costing you. Not only, you know, for more time, but it's costing you the $1,000 a month too. It's non-refundable. And they're pretty aggressive. Angie's is pretty aggressive, you know, on their sales tactics and everything. One of the people there would call me yesterday, like I said, he called me about 8 or 9 times, you know, want to say that I posted, I put up a profile of the business, the equipment, and blah, blah, blah. They were blowing me up. Because, well, you know, why? You know? I don't know, y'all. I'm just curious as to if it's real, right? I'm curious as if it's something that people can actually bank on. So this morning I woke up at, I don't know, 7 o'clock or so, and I done got 3 calls from them this morning. Not from the leads, but from the people that think they got me on the hook, right? I never make decisions spur of the moment. Never. I have to be educated in a decision where I'm signing something like that. And granted, $1,000 in business is not a whole lot of money, right? I mean, you know, it's not at the end of the day. But it's a whole lot of money if you give it away and you don't get nothing back for it. That's a lot of money. I ain't got $1,000 to give nobody, you know. And that's why I'm not, you know, freaking out or nothing about it. I'm just trying to figure out what you guys would do. Just creating a conversation, right? And wanting to know your guys' experience with any of these get lead companies, you know, Home Advisor, Angie's List, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones out there too. And I understand that everybody's got to make money. What about the concept of, or I wonder why they don't do it where they send you out on a lead, you get the job, and then they get a piece of that money. Then you pay them blah, blah dollars. See, the whole concept of selling leads, well, that's where I'm having a problem right there. I don't know if you guys, if I'm out of the norm, because I'm not a marketer. I've never marketed for my business the whole time I've been in business. You know, it would seem to me that they would have more people sign up if they, you know, got a percentage of the job. But see, that puts them in a bad spot, because then they have to do a little more work, because every customer might not pay the contractor, and then every contractor might not want to pay them. So and then you got a lot of people that will go to the lead and talk them out of dealing through Angie's List, and then just deal with you and them directly. I don't know, man. I just got a bad vibe about companies that sell leads, when really they don't even know anything about the business that I'm in. They're sitting behind a computer and they are supposedly got people calling them to find a contractor like me, when I know every Tom, Dick, and Harry, before they go to Angie's List, is going to go to Facebook, is going to go to some of the other places where they can have direct contact with a contractor. I don't really believe that he has 30 to 50 leads for skid steer tree trimming work in my area that are real leads, that are really ready to pull the trigger right now. Of course, you're going to tell me that. Of course, they're going to sell that and get it in your head. Well, man, out of 40 jobs, you should be able to get at least 10 of them, 15 of them. I'm not going to do it, though. So the same way I feel about this, and this might be a bad decision on my part. This might be a bad move. you know? I just find it hard to believe that in my small area that I live in, that there are 30 to 50 people out there looking for bobcat skid steer work, and they haven't contacted me on any other platform at all in my area. I don't know. I ain't biting though, not right now. And it's not a, you know, it's not detrimental. You know, it ain't like I, you know, have to have work today or nothing. Obviously, you can't work today. Hell, you'd be lucky to be able to get any time in this week because the weather's so bad, so wet and ugly and nasty out. Is it worth it though? Is it worth, you know, being an entrepreneur is all about rolling the freaking dice. Is it worth rolling the dice? Is it worth it? It might be. Should I try it? Or should you try it? I don't think I am. I'm pretty much, not right now today. I'm not going to try it right now. So then I woke up this morning, like I said, I had a few phone calls from Angi's, and they're really persistent because I think it's such a, once they got a contractor like me and they know a little bit about me, right, and they know I own my equipment, so they know I have the resources to probably pay them, and they know I have the know-how to do the work if the work becomes, you know, available, and I can actually turn a lead into a job. And that just keeps you on the hook. And to become dependent on that, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, if you make good money at it, I guess it's a good thing. But if you spend a bunch of time and wasting time going and looking at jobs and not getting none of them, then you just wasted a whole bunch of money when you could have just been hold your cards, sit at home, don't spend no money, and just hold out for the winter. You know? I don't know, man. I don't know what's out there because I'm never marketed. I don't really know the proper way to learn and to find out if these sites are scams or whatever. A lot of times I'm not saying a scam, but I'm saying that it's not as profit probability as they're saying. Of course, they're not going to tell you that out of 40 of them, 15 of them ain't ready, 10 of them are, outside your area, and 5 of them are cheapskates and ain't ready to pull the trigger right now. And they're not telling you, well, we're sending 6 other guys with bobcats over there too. Is that what they do? Of course, he don't tell me none of that. That's just my thinking and my little research that I've done online this morning before I made the decision that I wasn't going to do it. I don't know, man. It just, yeah. And if any of you guys have used Angie's List, y'all please leave me a comment. Or if any of you guys has any knowledge about any of the lead providing companies that get paid just for the leads, I don't know what qualifies them. At the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest, I get a little angry, about companies that really ain't got no skin in the game, right? Yeah, I really get pretty angry, and it ain't angry at them or me or whatever. It just really ruffles my feathers when there's companies out there that really ain't got no skin in the game, and they're trying to pimp me. They're not outside in the heat. They're not outside in the weather. They're not outside spending fuel money, prices. They're not having to pay for labor. They're not out here in the actual field. But you can't be mad at them, right? They've just found an easier way to make a living. And the thing about it is, for somebody like me, with as many years as I got in business, it's hard to bamboozle me with flashy numbers and stuff. If I were 25 years old, then, you know, I might bite. But if I was 25 years old, I probably don't have the equipment that a 52-year-old's got that's been in business a long time. Because at 25, though it's not impossible, you probably don't have all the equipment that a 55 or 60-year-old's got that's been in business a long time. So a younger person, and that's really what I do the videos for, people that are, you know, starting in the game or young in the game or want to get in the game. That's really, my videos are really geared toward a lot of that, you know. And I have a disclaimer as well. But if I'm, you know, 25 or 30 years old, and a salesman comes to me like that salesman came to me last night, I might sign right up on the spot, only to learn, well, the hard way. And if I'm young in the game, don't have the money to be putting out there for anything that's not guaranteed or as close to guaranteed as can be. See what I'm saying? So my advice, if anybody asks me, and nobody's asked, my advice would be, you know, be careful. You know, be careful. And then the fact that they want a card on file. They want my credit card on file. I don't put my credit card on file with nobody, man. Not my business card. It ain't on file with nobody. You know, I'm not gonna give them permission to debo money out of my account every month. Kidding me? Also, another thing that they do, that of course you don't read about none of this until you actually get into where they think they're gonna get money from you. So in order for you to qualify for these leads, they got to do a background check on you, a criminal background check. And you can't do anything until they do that. You can't, but you have to have a card on file before they'll do that. So the way they got it structured is you got to have a card on file before they'll run the background check. You can't get any of the leads, and I kind of understand that, before they run the background check. Because you got to have a card on file. And once you give them the card on file, they're going to get that, whatever number, he said $1,000. They're going to get that $1,000. And then they run the background check. Well, what happens if the background check don't check out? Right? I'm trying to figure out how they're thinking. You know, a lot of people be like, well, just don't question it, Ray. Bull crap. But before they'll do anything, you got to have a card on file. And that's where I started running into all my red flags in my head came up. Not that they're trying to beat me, but I'm actually fixing to come off $1,000. You know, and not that that is a lot of money or whatever. You know, not that that's a little bit of money or whatever, but it's not smart if it doesn't work out. Especially coming from somebody that's never marketed before. Is that a lot of money to market? I don't know. You tell me. On something that's not guaranteed? I don't know. Yeah. So So this morning I got up and I looked at a couple of videos before I made my hardcore decision. I looked at a couple of videos online about people that have had experience with Angie's List. And the overall, thing is that what they call leads may not be a lead to me. See, because I'm not used to going out and looking at jobs and not having a pretty good, 80-20 chance of getting the job. And in my customer base, it's not even about a percentage, because I'm 100% get those jobs if I want them. What happens if the customer don't pay you? He kept using the word, well, the reason they get a fee is because people are calling them and they're vetting the calls. They're vetting each person that wants work. They're not vetting them too hard because they can't guarantee payment. What are they doing then? When I think of the term, I'm vetting somebody, or vetting a customer or potential customers, then I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Then I guess my thinking would be they would vet their, they would qualify their finances, right? And they're not doing any of that. So there's a good chance that you could go and do a job that somebody that called Angie's List to get work, and then, especially if it's a one-time job for them, and them not pay you, but you done had to pay Angie's List. Now, I don't know how much of that goes on. I guess you would have to, that could happen at any given moment on any job that you do without Angie's List, or without a lead company or whatever. But see, that's minimal in my world. Very minimal. Because I normally don't go outside of that, of my base that I'm at now. But I find myself, in this economy, in this day and age, having to go outside of what my customer base is. Rather, I'm getting more efficient and I'm running out of work, or it's a sign of the times, or it's a sign of me just not feeling comfortable, going outside of that. It's probably a little bit of all three. But I just kind of wanted to come on here. I haven't done a video in a few days, and kind of just give you guys some content that's relevant content on my thinking and my experience thus far with a lead finding company. Y'all let me know what you guys think. And any of you guys got experience in this, y'all please leave me a comment and hit that like button, man. Peace out.